I think it's recording. Yay. I'll be there in just a second. Sorry. Trying to get it so I can see the other stuff. Good. At that. Move this so I can see it. Yeah, once again, I'm bogarting my wife's computer so I can see the chat. And you can hear my voice is even worse today. What is it with going on vacation and getting sick that is just annoying? Okay, so last time on this episode of Dragon Ball Z, I was setting up the switchable rig system for Seldin, and I've got this, and it does switch from FK to IK. What I'm doing today is just setting up individual IK/FK switches for the individual legs. So the way this rig is going to work for me is this one will switch and change everything from FK to IK, kind of like all at once. And then individually, if I need to change a limb, so if I'm working on a hand and that particular hand needs to be in, FK or IK, I can switch just that limb and adjust its animations accordingly. Um, that way I can have some independent control with the rig. um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm setting up these here and just kind of getting those set up. I guess I can turn off the boots and the pants. I don't need those. I'm a little bit more coffee today. Really annoying. I had a friend many, many years ago. His name's Richard. He used to talk about how much he hated getting sick. And he's like, man, I would rather break a bone than ever be sick. And one time we were at the skating rink. If you're if you're out here in Florida, we have a little skating thing. It's like Rainbow Skate or whatever it is, Astro Skate, something like that. Um, it's like right up the road, and we were up there. We were, I don't know, back in high school, and so we were up that way, and he fell while he was skating, and he landed um, palm first, and we're all martial art, nerds, so there's always some application of martial arts that comes into saving it if you fall. It's saved our butts so many times, playing manhunt or whatever. You have techniques that kind of help you. But he fell in such a way that he went and he basically palm slapped the floor to change, his momentum so he wouldn't get hurt. Um, but he slapped the floor, dented the floor, and broke his wrist. I don't think it was a big break. It was like a fracture. And we had it checked, but it was hilarious. But while he's getting it checked, he's like, "Yeah, it's a fracture, but at least I'm not sick." And so he was very committed to that notion. So anyway, I sympathize. So I'm gonna get this one set to that hand, and this one's gonna be the left hand um, switch. My my naming convention is bothering me. This is gonna be the hand switch. And then I'll get the object inside of there. I'll make sure I switch that as well. Cool. And then that has little pieces in there, but I'm not worried about those. And where's my left hand switch? There it is. Let me go ahead and just duplicate that. I'm going to bring that over to the right hand. So I'll just V snap over and come on into here. And that looks good there. Uh, uh, I was just debating, but that's world oriented, and I think that would be okay. My sinuses don't feel all that stuffy. I've always had issues breathing through my sinuses, but sorry, I'm gonna offset this. I'm gonna snap this to here on that grid line, and then I'll freeze it. That way I can have an even spacing. Freeze transforms. Then I'll come over here. Same thing with this guy, and I'll just uh, grid snap that to here, and then I'll freeze its transforms. Anyway, the tangent I was on for my sinuses is it feels like I have a fever, like my head is hot and I have that headachy feeling. But when I did my temperature yesterday, I was only a degree higher than my uh, resting body temp. So I'm like, well, maybe I don't have a fever, but I still have that sinus pressure sensation, even though my sinuses seem kind of normal. But anyway, so those are in place. I'm gonna swap this. And I'm just gonna swap that to R underscore and this one uh, on the group here. Yeah, that's kind of an annoying thing in Maya. Um, Typically, if something is highlighted and then you push an arrow key like to the end, it just jumps the arrow key to the end. Maya doesn't do that. It drops the highlight and it leaves you right at the starting point. It's Come on, Maya, get it together. It always trips me up because I'll do that and naturally think that it's going to jump me to the end, and I'll do that, hit delete, and I'm not doing anything, or I'm removing the wrong thing or whatever. All right, so we're in position there. That's good. And then this guy on all of my um, IKFK switches. I don't really have one for the head, and I don't know if I really need one for the torso. I think I could just switch the main one for the torso. But in all these, I'll grab the main guys here. On all those, I'm going to take the transforms, and I want to lock and hide so they're not in lock and hide selected. That way the animator, when they grab this, they can't get those controls, you know. Cough, cough. Need to make it so that my webcam catches my whole face, not just the corner of my chin. Okay. And that's my left. Shoulder stuff. I think I'm not going to use this. I think what I'll do for my switch here, I might put, it just doesn't seem very intuitive to put the fist control on this, but this is always going to be here. Hmm. So maybe. Hmm. Maybe turn off the main skeleton. Yeah, so I think I don't need these hands. what I was gonna do is I was gonna map it to the hand, and then I was gonna do a control parent constraints back to the original hand, but I don't think I'm gonna do that here. And I had the head. I think I deleted the head already. So that's there. Let me see if this works. No, because I duplicated um, the object, but I didn't duplicate the scripting for it, which is okay. How do I want to isolate the legs and the arms and such? Um, well, hmm, silly cough. I really don't know what these are being used for now because I deleted the hands off the thing. And this is world oriented, right? Yeah, they have the same position, so I don't really need those. Um, just thinking out loud here. Here's the OG neck. Here's the that headpiece. I don't need that either, so I'm gonna go ahead and just nuke that. Um, so like a lot of when you're building a rig, a lot of my time anyway goes into planning, trying to look ahead about how this is going to affect things later. You don't have to do this for every character. Like you can certainly just make an IK rig or an FK rig and do it. You can even just make you can have one file of your character as an IK and one file of your character as an FK, and you can load them in as references and then animate off of those references and just swap them out as you need. But then, you get if you have to match positions, then it gets tricky because you have two different versions of it. You're trying to match all the joints. Um, so if you go through the headache of making a switchable rig that has that feature in it, it can save you some time later. But not every character needs it. So it really depends on your workflow and what you're trying to do um, with your work. So you have to determine if it's something you need, but it's good to know how to do. Anyway, so here's my cog position. All right, so the cog I'm not actually using. Yeah, because that was this thing. I'll just hide the group. The IK root is there, FK root, and then Seldin. What other stuff do I need? I think I spend more time planning than I do building. Um, okay, let me see how this is connected. So I've got him selected, and that brings us down to here, and that's my hip offset. So what I was thinking of doing is putting a group in there that's on the hip, and then, do my FK controls, uh, you know, left leg, right leg, just so it's a quick visual to grab. But I don't have to do that. I could just grab my left hip offset and my right hip offsets, and I can set those, um, however. And then same thing with the arm. So my right collar, that grabs all that, right? And my other one. That grabs all that. And really, if I were to make a group on there, it would be a group inside of a group. And so I don't think I need to. Just it just gives you a bit of a master control. Um, and the neck is going to be handled by itself. And that starts up here. So here's pelvis and FK controls. That's the main FK control. This gets switched on and off from there. So what may ultimately end up happening is the main parent might override the control, but I think I can get away with not doing that. All right, let me go ahead and switch this. Very conveniently, I'll switch this back. And then this, where are you at? You're here. You see, these I did not group. I don't have offset groups for these. Not that I need them, but so left foot control, that's the IK. Left knee control. Those are all underneath. Here's the collar. So that one's convenient. I can use the collar. That grabs that side, that grabs that side. Spine I will hide. There's left foot, knee, right foot, right knee. Um, and that one's to there. What I might do for that is bring up the skeleton. Where's the IK? Ugh. I might put a group on the hip here that is for the whole leg. But I gotta be picky because I don't want to create an offset that breaks things. So, um, let me save my current position. Grab this, and I'll grab the knee. Left knee aim. Where are the locators at? I know they're in here somewhere. I think the locators are parented underneath the foot control. They are. I'm just debating because Yeah, I don't know how I want to do that. I can do a group and snap to here. Do I want it oriented to world? Or do I want it oriented to the angle of the leg? I think best practice suggests I should angle that to the leg. So I'm going to grab the leg here. And let's match transforms. Where's my group? And I'll do this as the left leg IK. Now, am I able to put these under there without distorting them too much? Because you don't really have a group. I want this to be in that hierarchy. And those are all underneath. No, I'm drilling over here. It's like Resident Evil. Where is that at? It's under IK control. And underneath the foot here. Let me put that under the IK controls just so I can see it. Left leg IK. We come up to the IK controls. Where are you at here? IK controls. I'll drop that in. There's my left leg IK. Now, can I drop those in? Can I do it without breaking it? That's the question. You to here. Ah. So the toe is good, but the foot has offsets. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm going to try freezing it and see if it breaks. So I will freeze. I can't freeze it because it's driven. Okay, so that's going to be a no on there. But how much will that matter? Because my foot controls are still going to work, right? That still does foot things. So let's put the left foot and the left knee and the left knee aim. We'll take those. We'll drop those into my left leg. Now, does this behave the same? Now, it does have controls on there, but let's see if it behaves the same. Behavior is the same. Can I freeze you to 0? I did, but it did some weirdness. So the issue is, since these are world, and that child there is not world, that child is whatever, I'm getting some weirdness. So if I freeze that, and it might not be apparent on the knee, but I'll show it on the ankle. So my ankle is also set to world, and if I were to freeze, oh, good Lord, I don't know what I clicked. Let me undo my brokenness there. Let me go ahead and freeze it, and you can see what it did to the bone there. That one over here. So that tells me that on those, if I'm going to parent it to there, I do want to have um, a world offset instead of doing that. So let me pull those out, and I'll set this to world instead. Then I got my left foot, left knee, and then the left knee aim. And I'll throw those inside of there. So that gives me a main control there, but these should still be 0, and they should still work. It's good to test it whenever you move things, just to make sure things are not going awry. And then the knee control is still doing knee control things. Yeah. All right. So there's the left leg IK. And I probably could, now that this is world offset to 0, my left foot groups, I can probably put them in here without having them break. So I'm just going to move those in. And I will open it. Whoops. Now let's test it again. All right, so left foot group, and everything looks like it's okay. There's no weird flippy flip. Okay. Left leg IK. And then I can do the right leg IK. So again, I'll make a group out here in the world, and I will V-snap that. And I'll just V-snap to here, and then um, freeze it. So pro tip, you can move, if you just move the pivot, so if I hit D unlock and then V-snap the pivot, that essentially does the same thing. Um, but look, if I hit F and I frame, the group is still down here, right? Whereas if I just V-snap from here to there, and now I hit F to aim, the group physically is here, even though it's null, it's physically there. So you can do either one. Just know how that physically works. This is going to be the right leg IK. And then for my right leg IK, I'm going to take the right foot, knee, um, and then the right aim, and then the right foot group. And I'll put those inside of my right leg IK. It would help if I actually put that inside of the main group up here. Let's do that first. IK controls, we'll parent that in. There he is. And then we'll get those again. You, and you. And I'll just test all those things, make sure they're doing what they need. And do you perform the way you're supposed to perform? So far, so good. Okay. And those will be easier to switch on and off once they have their visibility channel. Oh. Now, the IK controls for here. We've got pelvis, spine. I have my right arm, left arm. Huh. Nighttime, daytime. And it would be very convenient to be able to isolate those as well. So where do I want to put those? Again, these ones are actually mapped. If I grab that collar, you can see that that's mapped to here, and it does align here for that. Um, just thinking of how I want to do it. Hey, welcome. Hello. What's up, Alex? How you doing today? Yeah, save my current space. Let's see, this elbow aim is at 0. These controls are 0. That is 0. So what I've been doing is just continuing to work on the rig. Um, I've got these IKFK switches here. Those are set. They're not functional yet, but they're there. And this one still switches. So that switches between the different controls. um, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. A little bit sicker today, which sucks, but that's what it is. Oh yeah, and there's Misty. Oh, you. Come here, my old kitten. There she is. Hi. Hmm. Hi. Hmm. Little complainy butt. Oh man. All right, so the next thing I think I want to do, not 100% sure, never am. Um, so these are isolated to there. Mm, this is set to here. Let me go inside and look at the shenanigans I had to pull. Yeah, because I created an offset for that, and I plugged those in. I think what I'll do, um, hold on a second. Do those aim? They don't aim. Those are supposed to aim. Yeah, it's okay. There's supposed to be clusters on here. Right now they're disabled. Where are you at? We'll do the elbow. Yeah, and if this were to move, that should aim in the direction of the elbow, but it is not. I did not, I either didn't finish setting that up or I broke it when I was moving things around. But, but that's okay. I can put that inside that group, and then I can do all of its stuff. Um, hmm. Well, for that, I have to come back and think about that one later. Um, what the left and right arm controls all the left and right arm things, with the exception of that. How do I put that in there? Let me put the left elbow inside of my left elbow offset. This should be, yeah, world, and that's fine, and that should be here. I really don't care too much about the position of that thing because it's supposed to aim um, to that. So the way that's going to work, you get the control points. Um, it probably won't let me because it's disabled. Yeah. All right, let me grab you. Um, and right now, what are you set to? I think it is set to inactive. Um, let's go to channel control here. Mm, let's see. Move that back. Oh, I have it set to template, but let's do this. Since my brain tells me um, one thing, and what I'm doing tells me another. Let me just template this object. Let's go back into here, and I'll find template. And we set that to on, right? And then no selectee. Makes sense. So how come when I select these guys, they don't have their template? Oh, they do. Okay. I was blind and didn't see it. Okay, so now I get the CVs, which is good. And then I can take the CV there and make a cluster, deform, cluster. Yes. And this is going to be, which arm is this? Left elbow aim. So left elbow aim cluster. I'll do one. I probably should do a better designation than one and two, but um, I'll just do one. And then on the other one, I'll do two. Should have better naming conventions. Left elbow aim cluster 2. Okay, and then this one is a child of that. So we were looking at yesterday. If I select the cluster and then I use the P key to parent, it'll put it inside of a group. It doesn't really matter, but it'll put it inside of a group. So if I do that, it'll force it into a group, and that group has an offset, but we really don't need that. So I'll just move it outside there. I can nuke the group. Okay. And if I move this now, it'll aim. And then this one needs to stay on this elbow. So that one is actually going to become a child of that joint. So this joint here, I'll do P. And then I have to search for that in the hierarchy because it's somewhere. And where is that group at? That group is on the elbow, which is good. Mm, do I care? If I move it outside, will that affect it? No. That's only if I care about those being 0. And I really don't, so it's fine. One less group to deal with. And then that I can put back on this template. But now that aim should work. All right, do it on the other side. Where are you at? Right elbow aim. We'll turn that one back on. What was my naming convention for these things? This is going to be right elbow, aim, cluster, one. Yeah, there we go. And then that will be parented to there. I was trying to read what the warning actually says. Um, like if I go to this one, frame up, that one's there. Anyway, I'll find it in my selection. There's the group. And again, if you care about this being offset to 0, that's up to you. I don't particularly care, so I'm going to just remove it from the group. If it becomes a thing where it messes up for some reason, I would go back and change it. But I don't think it's going to matter here because it's just a visual aid. It's not something that matters. But there's him, and it's just a bit lighter. My OCD wants me to center that up really bad. Maybe I will. Let's go to deform. We'll make another cluster, and then that's going to be the right uh, elbow aim cluster 2, and that will become a child of that. And really, before I go too far, I totally am going to center that. Hmm. Hmm. And then that one, where are you at here? That is under here, and then here. As long as it aims, I don't care. Everything aims. Yay. And you get this guy again. I know I templated the value. Let me see if I can get the cluster anyway. I can. And then that cluster is floating way above that joint. I'll just V-snap to the center of it. Get him, and I'll turn him back on the template. Like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on the knees here. I thought I had done this a while ago, but I guess not. Let's see. I know I did not put that inside of that group. So my left elbow I put that, the left elbow aim I put inside the left elbow group. So this aim here, where is my right elbow group? And I attach that to the group, like that. No shifting, right? Now, if I ever want to go back and add those groups in, we go ahead and save real quick. Um, if at some point I say, hey, maybe I should have those groups, there could be a good reason, like locking and hiding some of the controls. If you ever wanted to, you can just grab the cluster, if I can find it, right? You can also find it in here, but visually sometimes it's easier. If I control G that, um, I can create a group, and that group would be inside of, the parent, and then inside of there, there's that cluster, right? And then if I want to, um, I can transfer the values. So I can take this one, I can copy these values, put that on the parent, and then freeze this one. Um, if it's necessary. But the benefit of having it inside the group, when I go and search for all of my groups, just visually, I can see the group and then grab it and freeze it, lock and hide transforms, all that stuff. So if I lock and hide these, it should affect the other one. Anyway, continuing on. Where are these knee controls? They are on the knees somewhere. They could be anywhere. Let me tell you, it's gonna be is that left underscore knee? I was gonna search for it, but if I can't find it, that doesn't help any. But those should be under that leg control. So where is my left leg? Yeah, they're in there. If I open that up, here's my left aim. What, you dirty liar. When I searched for you, you did not show up. Or if you did show up, I was blind, I didn't see it. Okay, it did show up, I just didn't notice it. Okay, so I've got him, I'll turn him on for the template setting. And then this one. So my order of operations has been the one on the joint is number one, the one on the control is number two. And that'll be a cluster. Left knee, cluster, and then two. I'm just going to copy that so I don't have to keep typing. And then I'll grab this one, make a cluster. Left knee cluster one. Same dealio. This one will be parented to the control. And this one will be parented to the joint. And it looks like that one's already center, so I don't have to do anything special for that. Parent to the joint, find out where it's at, and if you care to remove the group, move it out. But that should now aim at wherever this knee is at. Yay. And then I can hide that thing. Let me go and get off of that thing. Okay. Where is the other leg? Here's the right leg. I'll remove the templates. I'll just paste that in and change the value at the end. So here's my right. Cool. And while I'm here, I'll just do the parenting thing. The order doesn't matter. I can do it before or after. These are backwards. Pretty sure my convention has been the one on the joint is the first one, and the one on the controller is number two. But okay, I guess I didn't follow that rule. And Maya, you can't have the same name on things. It makes sense. But I'm gonna rename this one to one, and then this one I added the 12 there just so I could have a different name. So now it's one and that's two, and then this one, um, it doesn't matter. I just can put something else in there, and then I can rename that cluster. Seriously. That'll be one. Sorry. And this will be two. There we go. And then this one is a child of that. Yay. Open that up. Once again, I'll remove the group because I'm being obstinate. And then I can lock that. And this should still work, right? Yay. So all those aim controls are working. And if I hide the clusters, you can see they're hidden, but they're not like gone. So I don't want the animator to accidentally grab them. Granted, I'm the only one animating on this project, but if I hire somebody later, I want to just make life easier on them and me. one of the downsides about being on a solo project is there's only one of me to go around, and my time is absorbed by my 9 to 5 and family. So I'm not terribly religious. Um, Pretty much anything that's involved in religion is actually in the Guardian's book. So if you want to know about my religion, if I have one, my spiritual thoughts are in there. But in the Bible, um, there is a passage or a parable or whatever it was where um, this guy was talking to Christ about how to get into heaven, and he's like, we're wealthy men, but we want to get into heaven. And Christ is like, well, you have to get rid of all that. And there's like the interpretation of um, not being um, trying to think of the word, but basically um, not being attached to things, right? Having detachment. And you're like, oh well, that's so mean. What about your family? What about this? And I don't really think it has anything to do with heaven. I think it has to do with a journey. So if if you have those things in your life, they are distracting you from whatever your goal is. So if your goal is to get into heaven, then all those other things are distracting you from that goal. So in my case, my goal is to get this game built, but because I'm focusing, a lot of my time goes into these other things, not as much time is going into the thing that I want. And um, so there's that, right? I'm not sure how that got to religious, but there you go. There's my take on it. Okay, so I need to make the a similar thing for these little FKs. Um, some sort of controller arm that points to the ankle. So the way to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop on into here. Let's turn, I want the skeleton to be on. That's cool. I'm gonna go up to my curves and get my EP curve tool. And get my tools, make sure it's set to 1 linear. The default is 3 cubic, but 1 linear is what I'm using. And then I'm going to snap this thing to a point. But here's the thing. There's no anchor point for this. And I want to have an anchor point for it. So what I can do is I can create a locator and I can change the position of this so it's centered on this grid line. And that would make it a little bit easier for me to center things up. So if I make a locator, it's not that vital, you know. Um, I do want this to kind of follow the leg in a way, but yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, to make this, I'm just going to go from point to point. So V snap to the ankle, and then I will X snap to the grid like that. So there's my line. And then with this, I will grab its center point, and I did hide its controls. Um, but in order to get back to those, I can go up to my edit and then get my channel control, and then I can open up the channels that I locked. So down in this list here, um, the thing that I care about would be my translation X, Y, and Z, and I'll just move those um, to over here. And then with that, I can take this guy, and then right now they're set to locked. I can close the channel control, and then I can go to these, just unlock, and then I can move this, and I'll just X snap that to here. I did like it a little bit higher, but then I'd have to I'd have to match the transforms. But that's another option. So I can go back to here and I'll just re-hide those. So another way to get that is I can take this. I know that I'm going to make a cluster out of it, so I'm going to grab that and make a cluster like that, and then I can move the cluster to match the transforms of this object. So that's just another option. So I can grab this, shift grab that, and then under modify, I can match the transforms. And I'm just going to match the translation um, because I don't want to modify the rotations. So I'm going to just match translation, and that should center it. And that's just another way around that, so I don't have to create a locator for it. But there, that's nice and centered. That's nice and centered. And that one, if I can get to it, let me hide the skeleton. Ooh, I keep hitting that IK. Uh, where is the um that's the right leg IK. Where's my left leg IK? Left leg IK. I'll just hide that for the moment. And then I'll get that, then I'll make a cluster out of it. Yay. And of course I need to name my clusters, so that is gonna be the one on the bone is what? One. And this is going to be the left um, ankle cluster. Left ankle aim. That's what it's going to be. Man, it's stupid cold. Yay. And then this one on here is that. Very, very nice. And then this one, come here, you. Oh. So that to this will be parented, and then that to, where's my IK skeleton? To this joint will be parented. Did that move? No. It looked like it moved because that shifted. My eye saw it. And then I can give that cluster. Oh, I hid the skeleton and it was part of it. That's why. In my list here, um, where are you at? You're under the left ankle. Here's that group. Here's that. I don't need the group, so I'll take that out. And then this one, if I just look where you're at, I guess so. In there. Did I move that? don't think I moved it. I thought I moved that back. Let me go Control Z a little bit. Maybe I did move it accidentally. I did move it. When I clicked on that, I somehow moved it. Okay. And then if I were to take this and then move it around, I can't move it around because it's locked and hidden, but in the event that I could, it would follow. But I can move this ankle. If I turn the controls back on, I can move the ankle. But this needs to be templated, so I'll go up to, oh, I never named the curve. This is my left ankle aim. Bum, bum, bum. But I'm aiming for the FKIK switch. So IKFK underscore switch. I'm gonna move this. Left ankle aim, and then the thing I'm aiming for. Helps if I have consistent naming. Okay, left ankle, IKFK switch, aim. All right, I'm gonna go to the right leg. Where's my right leg control? Get you. If I hide that, it hides all. Yay. I never did template that. So I'm gonna take that. Um, channel control, and I want to open up the template option. Templates, move it this way. That way I can turn that on. Yay. And then for this, we're going to make that EP curve again. So here. And then I'll go in my front view. And I'll X snap to the grid there. And then for this, I need to create a cluster. I forgot the dab. I need to get some music to jam out to. That way, for the background, when I'm not talking, we'll hear some doot 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 doot. Um, anyway, where is the Hmm. Um, what did I name the last one? So I did right underscore ankle aim, I think, cluster. And then the one that goes to that would be 2. And then the one that goes to the actual ankle, that would be 1. All right, and then this one, I want to match the transforms of this object. Translation. Yeah, and then that to there. I'll parent it. Bam. And this one, I'll bring the skeleton back. Gets to be locked to that ankle. And then I'll look for it in the list. That's under the right ankle. There's that group. Just move that out. All right, and then this curve here, I'll steal the name from that curve. Maybe I won't. There it is. It's going to be the right. Okay. And then these things need to actually go in their respected parents. So this one is the right leg. That needs to go inside of the right. Um, where is my right leg IK? So it needs to go into there. Actually, I'm doing this wrong. These last few steps I did wrong because um, I don't want this to only be available on the IK skeleton. Those need to be there for the IKFK skeletons. So I need to have that parented to the main skeleton. It's all right. Uh, and I realized that when I moved it into the IK folder, I was like, wait a second, that needs to be visible at all times. So I'm going to move that out of the IK folder. But that also means that I probably foobarred the other ones. So those being parented to this, that makes sense. This does not need to be parented to the ankle. Instead, that needs to go to the other ankle. So still gonna template this. Let's do that. Channel content. Where is template? And then we'll turn that on. All right, and then these guys, need to go to the main skeleton. Um, no, I don't mind. I don't mind the IK and FK skeletons having children, but I do mind uh, I do mind. I think I just save this and I'll show it. I do mind having children on the main skeleton, and the reason for that is Unreal, which is what I'm building this out for. Unity might do it as well. I have to check, but any child on the skeleton will be read as a bone, even if it's not a bone. So if I go into Unreal here, and this is the project. This is an Unreal 4.27, which is the most updated version of it. I need to move this over to Unreal 5 because there are features in Unreal 5 that will save me some headaches. But if I go to, where do I have this stuff at? Skeletal Mesh. Let's grab Seldin's skeleton here. You can see on him, boom, boom, boom. No, the sockets are supposed to be there. Those are there. Down here. You can see this shoulder control group. These guys, these are not bones, but because they didn't remove these from that skeleton before exporting it, they came in as bones. So Unreal reads this as bones, even though they have no real affiliation. Now, is that going to be a problem? Not necessarily. It If they have no direct influence on anything, they're just a benign object, but it's data that the system has to keep track of, and it's not being used, so it's a waste of memory. So that kind of thing is a thing. So you have to be aware of that. Um, and when you export animations to Unreal, typically you would bake everything onto the main skeleton, and you would strip everything off of the main skeleton except for what needs to be there. And in that particular case, I missed these groups, so they were there. Oh, you only see Seldin's boots, by the way, because he's imported as different pieces. That way we can change his clothes. Also, there's an eyeball. So if I go to, where is the main? I guess he'd be under blueprints, characters. Here's Seldin's. Um, so here's all of him. Which version of this is it? That's the older face. Need to get his hair in here. But you can see that this, under the mesh, so there's his naked bod, and then we have the shirt is its own object, pants are their own object, the sash, and these are all their own skeletal meshes. And this is all composited. Um, where is the main graph here? Edit graph. Those are all composited. Well, there's a lot of stuff in here. Where we go? Um, yeah, right here. So those are being brought in, and then we have a main pose, master pose, and that master pose is being set, and it's checking all of the bones of the different skeletons. That way, they're all since they all have the same joints, they all have the same joint name, bone names. Um, we can tell them to just mirror the live animation on the main skeleton, which is what's happening here. But that does mean there's extra calculations in the background because there's multiple skeletons, so it does make things slower. It's not the most efficient way, but it is, to my knowledge, the only way of doing it in Unreal. Kind of annoying, but anyway, since I have the project open, we can kind of deviate. So this is the current game. It's a Metroidvania style um, kind of thing, and then here's Seldin. This takes place if you read the book right at the end of the first book. So spoilers, when the Pulsari attacked Earth, and they handled all that stuff, Seldin then went on to the Pulsari homeworld to punish them, basically. He said, do not attack defenseless worlds, and they came to Earth anyway. And here's some pickups. So like these give you more health bar. There's the full health bar. And one of the things I'm trying to correct in here, because like the animations are a bit janky. Um, so in traditional uh, animation, 2D animation, when you for like a side scroller, if a character's walking this way, and then you hit the button to go the other way, it's an instantaneous turn. You just flip the animations, and then he goes the other way. But in 3D animation, at least with Unreal, it doesn't work like that. So there are several ways to get around the mechanism. So he has a boundary capsule. Let me get my pointer. He's got a boundary capsule here. This boundary capsule is the physical capsule that represents him in space. Um, and then all these other things are like sensors, right? Well, the way the default setup is in Unreal for, because Unreal was built for first person shooters. It's meant to be, first person perspective and all that stuff, and the capsule rotates left, right, up, whatever for those needs. So I'm repurposing this for a side scroller, and it's not really meant to do that. So um, the capsule, the way that Unreal handles it natively, is whenever you were to turn from forward or back, left, right, whatever, the capsule physically rotates 180 degrees. And that's okay, but there are some issues with it, and you don't get a good, you get a manageable transition, but you don't get a good transition. So, for example, for him to do these wall grabs, um, these little detectors that I have on here, these little raycasts, um, they check where he's at. So this low one that looks kind of inappropriate, but it really is just to see if things are within it, are waist high. And if they're waist high, then he can, let me get up here. So if things are waist high, he can vault over, right? If it's lower than that, then he doesn't get to vault. So if it's too low, he can't vault. He'll just jump, right? But if they're the right height, he can vault. Now, when it's too high, it, and it tells me, so it'll say if it's valid or not, and I can get there. I can. Well, those checks are based on the forward vector on the capsule. Okay, so if the capsule physically rotates 180 degrees this way, then conveniently those will follow. But that also means that in the while that capsule is rotating, there is a point where he's going to be facing some direction other than forward or backward. So if I'm trying to wall hang and in the middle of that wall hang, or like if I jump and try to grab that, and as I'm jumping backward, he's rotating, his body faces the screen, and then gradually it faces the other way. At some point, I would be able to hit this wall, but those detectors would not physically be there. They would be part of the capsule. And so there are moments where the player would see it as, hey, I reached that ledge, but the game would say, no, you didn't, because the detectors would not sense that. I can handle it a few different ways. I can make it so that the detectors flip 180 degrees instantaneously. Um, but then I have to make sure that they're not associated with the capsule. Not a big deal, but it's one option. Another way to do it is to have instantaneous rotation, which is what is currently on here. Um, he instantly rotates, and he has a little bit of an animation to kind of smooth that out, but he just looks kind of goofy when he flips. Um, you can kind of see that when he wall kicks, like when I do a wall jump and I jump off, he'll flip and then he like does this flippy flip thing. And that happens because you can't just flip the animation in Unreal. So the animation runs. Um, where is that at in here? Oh, thank you. Um, where's those animations? Montages updated. I'll just jump into any one of these here. Let's just stop that so we don't have a seizure. Okay, so where is that wall jump? Wall jump. Well, you can see the different turning. I had different turning options in here. So here's like one attempt at turning. This is the one that he currently uses. But you can see when he's done, he just slides back. So if I get into a position, let's say I'm looking at it from this angle, he's gonna try to turn, right? And this is what he does. He tries to do this turn, and then when the animation is finished, it goes back to a zero position because Unreal is going to force him back to his whatever the animation's or sorry, whatever the capsule's default position is, the default rotation. So he'll rotate inside the capsule, or he'll rotate for the animation, but when the animation's done, he'll flip back into the capsule, which is annoying. Here's another one where he tried to do it. This is another attempt. Get that one. Let's see, this one's turning left. Let's see if that one does a full. That one does not. Let's grab the wall kick. The wall kick will give you a very good example. So, wall jump. So here he is, he's on the wall, and he's going to jump off, and he's going to turn, and he's going to physically turn. Like the animation physically turns him. But when he's done, Unreal says, oh, he's done. He's going to face this way again. And it puts him back facing zero, which is really annoying. Um, so the workaround that I found is to do animations for both left and right. So when he's facing to the left, he's going to have a full bouquet of animations, walking, running, jumping, punching, kneeling, crouching. All the animations that face to the right will have a facing right variation. All the animations that face to the left will have a facing left variation. And then and then there'll be a transition in between. There'll be a turn where he turns from facing that way to that way, and a turn from facing that way to this way. And once that is set, I can force him to be in the animation and maintain that position, um, which is the goal because I don't want to rotate the capsule. I really just want to flip the animations and not have to worry about the capsule position. That way I can flip these values without flipping the capsule. But again, I have to build two sets of animations. I have to have a facing to the right set and a facing to the left set. Um, in Unreal 5, there's a new version of they have a built-in mirror option, which allows you to take your animations that made for one side and lets you while it's running live, it just flips the values for you. So I'm gonna when I move this over there to the Unreal 5, I'll be able to test and see how that's going to work. But I do want to rebuild. I'm rebuilding his rig so that I can um, do some motion capture with it. So I've tried a few different motion capture tools, but they're kind of buggy. So I'm gonna try um, the new stuff and see how that works. But that's kind of the headache that I've had with this. Anyway, long tangent, but here we are. Anyway, these need to go onto the main skeleton, but I don't really want them to be on the main skeleton. So what I will probably do is use a apparent constraint instead. So let me find these and I will unparent them. Fine, I'll just get it in here. All right, there's the ankle cluster. And I will unparent that. And I'll get the other leg over here. There's the that one. I'll unparent that. And I'll do the same thing on these up here. Um, so those are okay. The knees and the elbows, sorry, those exist on the IK skeleton only, so I don't have to worry about moving those. But these ones on the FK flips, on the FK switches, those should be active. I'll go ahead and make these and then I'll worry about the rest of that. Okay, so get my EP curve tool and I will V-snap to here. And then conveniently, this is centered on that grid line. So I'll just X snap to the grid there. And this is going to be the this thing. So that'll be this, except it'll be the left hand uh, switching. And I'll go ahead and just make the right one while I'm here. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's fine. All right, and I'll name that one. That'll be the right. Yay. And then on both of these, you'll do clusters. So let me turn off the skeleton, and I'll even turn off, um, where is my, where are my, right, I can't handle that, but I can do it on the parent. Turn off the controls, and now I can deal with this. Let me get that CV, and then I can cluster you, and then you are going to be the left um, hand aim, and that's going to be the cluster. I'll do cluster 2 because the convention is 1 is on the bone, 2 is on the thingy. My made-up convention. And that'll be 1. Yay. The same thing for this one. Cluster. This is going to be the right. See, that messed me up there. This is right 1. And then right 2. Yay. The easy version of that is I can parent it to that control. So this cluster, while you being a jerk face. Oh, come on, you. That cluster to this object. Oh, where are you at here? Under here, rig systems. Do I care about the group? No. Okay, and then this one. To that one. There we go. Right, I got all those. And then both of these, I think I can do both at the same time. Both of these need to have the template setting. So I'll move it and then set them both. Let me see if it affected both. It did. Yeah. And then those are going to go to the wrist. Oh, so how am I going to do that? I think what I'm going to do is move the pivot of these inside of the groups for that. Because this, yeah, I'm just thinking here. Let's turn on the main skeleton. Hmm. Now I have that on the wrist, but really those should be targeting the hand. So that's on the hand there. Why would you make the C bigger, but not make it grabbable? Okay. And then there should be a group on here for the left and right hand groups. There is not. I mean, there is, but there isn't. Um, Here's my left hand offset and my right hand offset. So those are there. Um, how do I want to do that? Uh, I want it so when the hand moves, the whole thing follows the translation of the hand, but it does not follow rotations of the hand. So I'm going to want a point constraint. But what about everybody else? Everything else that's going to be on the hand would need to have more than just a point constraint. I don't think what's going to be most convenient. Do I really want that to move? And if so, by how much? Once again, I'm sitting on the edge of the chair because the cat occupies the whole chair. How do you occupy all the chair? Stupid upper respiratory. Breathing is stupid. Oh man. How do I want to do it? Short answer is I have no idea. Ugh, I think I'm broken. Let's save here. Um, yeah, because I want those controls for the hand. I want those to follow the hand. I also want the face controls from the neck up to follow the main skeleton positions. So that's going to be tricky. Well, I have to think about it and then come back to it. But maybe I will do, maybe I'll make that hand control. So if I turn on my controls here, let's change this one to FK. Okay, and then I'll go back down to my FK controls. There they are. So I have these, and I initially set this up with the intention that I would have specific control over each finger. But that's not super convenient. It would be more convenient to just have a single controller to close the fist, and then if I wanted to have like a single finger point or whatever, I can do that. Hmm. So, as much as I like the hand rig, uh, I have a copy of it somewhere else. So if I ever want it back, I can go get it. So on these, where are you? Controls, FK controls inside of here. I really should just that. Inside my thumb, that hand control, that needs to be wrist control. So wrist, and that way I have a appropriate designation. I'll do the same thing for the right. Where is the, starts at the right collar. So right here, right hand, that's right wrist. All right, we got that and that. Okay. Do I want to nuke these finger controls? Sort of. I like having independent control, but I don't really need independent control. So I think set-driven keys will be better. So I'll go back in here. Let me start at the thumb. And I just have a single thumb control. It would be better if he were skin weighted. He's not skin weighted. I mean, I can adjust the controls later, but man, that's annoying. I don't want to deviate the skin weights right now because I have to skin weight the whole face, and that's just hours of work. And if I break it, I have to do it again. And I know that I need to fix a part of his mouth, so there's that. Uh, but I can always adjust the skin weight or the the animated controls later. So I think from here, yeah, there should be a version of this elsewhere. So I get the thumb group. Let's get all these finger groups here. And I'm going to nuke them. Goodbye. Took a bit of debate, but we got to it. And then down here, same thing. Those are over here. All that effort. Goodbye. Okay. Let me turn on the FK skeleton. This one should be uh, controlling the wrist with a parent constraint. So constrain, parent. Um, yeah, so I can do orientation and position. Really, I realistically on an FK rig, you don't do a whole lot of translations. But since I know the motion capture is going to be using translations, I'm going to have that on there. So I can just say yes. If you want scale, you can add a scale constraint as well. That's here. So if you wanted that feature, you can add those in, and that'll allow you to, in the middle of it, you can scale the joint. You don't see that happening here, but it scales the skin weights on the joint. So like if you had a character and you wanted to have some animation effect where he threw a punch and his fist got bigger, you could do it doing that. I don't need that feature, so I'll turn that off. If I want, I can always add it later, but that should let me um, orient that. I'll do the same thing on this side. U2, parent constraint, like so. Okay, and then I will switch off the FK skeleton. I'll put on the real skeleton. And then on here, I will make um, a universal controller for the hand. I can do it on here. Like, I really could. But looking at the rig, I wouldn't think to grab this to grab the hand controls. I would only think to grab this for the FKIK for the FKIK switch. So I made a control yesterday, but I ended up destroying it. What do I want to represent the hand here? I can do I can do a ring around the hand. I can do a little thing outside the fingers. How can I decorate this and make it very hand-like? Um, like I kind of like this with little shape, but it doesn't matter all that much. Nothing really matters. I can even take my EP curve tool. There's actually a fancy curve tool, this guy, that lets you draw a shape. So like I could totally do this and then be like, that is my hand shape. And that looks fancy. Where is my position? So I can make something like that. Now the issue with this is it's a lot of curves. There are so many curve points on here. So what I can do is pick the ones that I like and nuke the ones that I don't. So like mm, this is extra, that one's extra. Right? And I kind of go through, I'm not going to go through and delete hundreds of points. Um, I don't see the point. But I can do my EP curve tool here. Um, Let me set it up to, I mean, Bezier does give me a lot more control. Let me try 3 Bezier and see how that goes. I want here, oof. Um, what that will let me do is when I go into edit my curve point, I've got these little handles and I can grab them. I can play with how that's being drawn. Come here, you. Stop being a jerk. So I got that. Let's go ahead and snap that. into position here. Move that out just a tad, and maybe I'll scale it a little bit. Right, and I can be like, hey, this is my hand control that does like the fist and all that. So I can take this, I can actually duplicate it. That way I have another one. Actually, I'll worry about the duplication of it later. Let's do this. I'll move that pivot point uh, to the wrist, or to the hand. Let's adjust some of these shapes here from the side view. I don't know if that reads very well. There's my curve. Okay. This will be the L underscore hand control. This is for FK, so I'll do that. Or no, this is just in general. Let's say I'm happy with that. I will duplicate, and then on the duplicate, um, let me see if I can flip the value on that X scale. And did it let me? It did. Yay. And then I can put that on the other side. Yeah. All right. Oh, and that one I should rename. And then both of these need to be 0. Freeze the controls there. And then there should be a group that is just on the hand. So where's my hand group? Left hand group. You are going to be the parent of this guy. So um darn. I wasn't paying attention. And then I didn't didn't do anything about it. Oh, excuse me. Can I convert this to a standard curve? Modify, where's convert? Convert. Mm, let me try Bezier curve to NURBS. There we go. So the reason I converted that is I was hoping, so that the symbol for this is different. And not that that matters, but visually, like if I'm looking in the menu and I want to grab just my controls, I'm looking for this. So I wanted to make that visually easier to kind of grab. Of course, when I do that, since it's no longer Bezier, it's kind of jagged. A little sad, but I will live with that change, or I'll make it different um, at some other point. But Bezier, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that. Looks like it should just be a couple points. Yeah. All right, this is going to be a child of the left-hand offset group. So I'll go ahead and just parent that in there. And then this needs to be 0. And then this one is going to go into the right-hand offset group. And it will also be zeroed. Yay. And then this is going to do some controls for the fingers, but um, this group itself, these groups, those are going to be driven um, by this hand joint. So I'm going to take the hand joint, and then I'm going to grab the group, and then I'm going to do a constraint. Let's see if I can run that here. And let's do a parent constraint. Let's maintain offset. Yes. So this should not have any controls on it, which is good. This is being driven by that. And then this, I can position this wherever. So yeah, and then if this were to move, it should follow. Okay. And then if I grab this control here, when I have it so that, actually it probably should work. Yeah, it should already work. I forgot I did that yesterday. Okay, so we got that. I'm gonna go ahead and do some of the puppeteering for the hand. So on this, I want to create some attributes. I really should have done that and then duplicated it, but it's okay. I'm going to do this one as, um, where's my add attribute? There it is. And this is going to be the, um, I'll do thumb. Now I could designate left thumb, right thumb, whatever, but I'm on the left hand, so I can assume there. So I'll do my thumb, and then I'll do this as a float. Um, and then for my min value, max value. This is up to you. You can do any number you want in here. It can be 100, it can be 1, it can be whatever. I have a min value and a max value of, let me do -10 and then a +10. I don't need a whole lot of degrees of freedom. I can always change this later. So I hit add. And now I have my thumb here. And you know what I didn't do? I really should have put something before this. So let me go ahead and just remove that attribute. Delete. Now, one thing that I liked from Ant CGI is he likes to put dividers in here. So if I grab this, he likes to do something like this to make it visually pretty, and I do like that. So I'm gonna borrow Ant CGI's workflow there. So the way that he does that is he activates the nice name, and then you have a long name. So the long name would be whatever you want that to be. So this is going to be the um, I'll say left hand um, finger controls, or actually I'll just do it as controls. Uh, there we go. And then for the nice name, um, what am I doing? I'll do about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And actually, I'm wrong. I'm not going to do that here. This is going to be left hand um, finger controls, and then I'll do that value as an enum. I'll erase the original enum value, and then this will put as controls. So here's that. And I'll add that there. There we go. And this is not really accessible, but it's visually you can see what it does. And then you want to lock and hide these, so I'll lock and hide. Well, I don't want to hide selected, but I want to lock it, and then I want to make it non-keyable. So I'll make selected non-keyable. That way you can't accidentally drive that value. Okay, now I can do my other ones. So I'll do my thumb, and then change that. I'll do my -10, +10. And there's my thumb. And then I'll have my index finger. The question is, do I care? Do I care about it being, I could do thumb, index, middle, ring, and whatever. I think we'll get it, right? So index, and then -10, 10. We'll add that there. And then middle. And then we have the ring. And 10. And then -10, 10, and this is pinky. Yeah, I'll add that. So there are those. Yay. And I should be able to duplicate this with the controls on it, like so. And then I can flip this value like that, and I'll just move this over here. So that one can go bye. See you, nice lady, bye-bye. And then that one, wherever he's at. Wow, my stomach is really gurgling. That one will go into that hand there. Okay. And that's going to be the left hand, or sorry, the right hand. All right, got that one. And that's all in there. Handy dandy. Oh, I will um, take this hand, and I do need to do the parent constraint on that. So constraint, and then parent. And then this guy, I can freeze. So, um, freeze transforms. And that should be conformed to that one. Yes. Okay, so those are in. Back over here. So I'm debating on whether or not I want um, to use offset groups to drive this animation, or if I want to just drive it directly in the skeleton. If I use offset groups, that means that later I can uh, I can still directly have influence over the skeleton. If I if I do set driven keys on here and force the value, that means the mocap data, the motion capture data, um, will be in conflict because these will be driven through that process. Hmm. Lame. All that effort. I might have to go back to what I was doing. This is why I usually think ahead before I do a thing. All right. Hmm. What I could do is ignore any motion capture data for the hands themselves, keep the wrist rotations, and then I can manually um, decide if the hand should be open or closed or in a fist or whatever. One of the nice things about having the motion capture is it captures your fingers, but it doesn't need to. Its finger animations are pretty simple. So with the exception of like a tapping animation, like if you're like I don't know if I'm in view, but if you're like tapping your fingers on something, that would be something worth motion capture, just because the fidelity of how those fingers move and to be fluid. Hmm. Oh, that's annoying. Well, I don't want to go redo my work. Right. Yeah, those hands got me stuck. I don't know how I want to deal with those. Hmm. How is that going to affect me later on? Need to make a decision, but I'm stuck. Well, I'll come back to the hands later. I think I'll probably just go back and put the finger controls that I had on there and just do it that way. Or I can do offset groups and I can use this to control the offset groups for like making a fist real quick. But then I would have um, the option to do something else. I don't know. I can't decide. The way I had it set it up earlier was those individual, I had one control per finger, and those would drive the motion. I'll have to come back and do it because I can't seem to decide now. Um, neck controls. This controls that neck, right? But this needs to be in a group. So where are you on these neck controls? There's my neck. So here's my neck, and then those are all inside of the FK controls. But for uh, the neck has all the face controls on it. This, I think, I can move out. Um, so I'm going to shift P, the neck. Hopefully all the children are okay. Yeah, that's fine. So that's here. And regardless of whether or not I'm an IK or FK, I want to be able to have access to the head and neck controls. Um, so I need to make a group, and I need that group to be on the on here. So that would drive this joint. Oof. That is driven by that joint. Um, how am I gonna do that? I could do that one's also a little bit tricky because I want that control to influence that neck position. But I also want, like in the animation, if or for like the motion capture, if those two joints are modified, I want to have access to them later. What might be simpler is on both the IK and FK skeletons, is to give them the neck and head joints, and then, like I did with the hand, just parent constrain those to an offset group. I think that makes the most sense. Okay. So what I need from here is I need to take this. Yeah, Seldin neck 1 is already being driven, and then this one is not being driven. So I'm going to take this joint here, I'm going to duplicate it, turn off the original skeleton. Let me turn on the FK skeleton, turn off the controls. And where, oh, where is that duplicated part? It's probably going to be inside of Seldin's root. Let me open that up. And then I have the neck, but there should be a duplicated neck in here. Let me turn that back on. Yeah. So that I'm going to unparent from here. Remove that from the group. Okay. This is neck 1. And this will be FK neck 2. So FK underscore neck 2. Right? Neck 1, neck 2. And I haven't changed anything for that. Neck 1 and neck 2. And this is head 1. So I need everything above that to be gone. So these can go bye-bye. Now let's go to a side view. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. I don't need those. Actually, let me grab. Why do I keep grabbing that? This is end of the line for the head, but I don't need it. Why? Why does it keep grabbing that? Where are you? I don't know. You get jerk face. This is the jaw. Very carefully get rid of all the things. Where is that, by the way? There it is. Just open that up here. I don't need the nose. What's up? Oh, you're out of work early.
And I'm off tomorrow. And I'm off Friday.
Today was a half day.
I decided to leave.
Everybody just decided to leave.
Yeah. The sales team made
Okay.
quota for us not being there on Fridays. Everybody was like, we're gonna go.
All right, I'm gonna parent that back. Okay, there we go. So this is now part of the that skeleton. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it here, and then continue on a little bit later. So thank you guys for joining me, and I shall see you